This is TWiT.
What attracted you to Marpa in the beginning, and what have you been using it for?
So I've always had sort of a love-hate relationship with parsing. I'm very, very practical programmer, but I have a geeky side, and I followed some of the stuff in the past for parsing in Perl, especially some of Damian Conway's projects like parse rec descent and regex grammars and some things like that. Mm-hmm. And the thing that attracted me to them is that they're very easy to dive into. Anybody can go and have an idea of a language in mind and write a grammar and not need to know a lot of academic stuff and not need to do a lot of advanced work. You can just kind of dive in and write something practical. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know one of the things I used parse rec descent for was I did a safe eval for data dumper, because data dumper mm-hmm. generates essentially Perl code, and the normal way to turn that back into a Perl data structure is you run eval on it. But the problem with eval, of course, is it's completely wide open. So I used parse rec descent to drill down and do similar to what the Perl parser is doing when it's trying to do that kind of data structure, but I'm doing it in a very controlled way, and nothing that's not one of my legal steps will get past it and become the actual data. So that's one of a class of parsers that you might write. What other kinds of things have you written?
So the TAP, the test anything protocol, I'm sure you're very familiar with. Mm-hmm. And there was an effort.
Why don't you go ahead and describe that for our audience, though? Yeah.
It's a language for basically communicating the results of test suites to a test harness. So any kind of test-driven development, test programs that you want to write for your programs, if they output in this language called TAP, which is basically just a summary of the results of the tests, then you can have all kinds of tools, recognize whether your tests are passing or failing and do summaries of how your tests are doing.
So let's actually back up a little bit, so understand why people need parsers. We have multitudes of data out there, and everybody invents their own formats for what this data is going to come in as. I mean, XML mm-hmm. is sort of one format, HTML is a different format. You have comma-separated values that have the need for things that are being, quote escaped and things like that, and like that. And so that's why you would reach for a parser, right? To be able to take that multitude of data and turn it into something.
Right. Anytime you have some sort of structured data and you need to get something out of that structure into the computer, basically you're doing parsing, whether you're parsing a programming language, whether you're parsing a format like JSON or XML or HTML, even binary file formats, we don't usually think of them as parsers, but something is going to go in there and say, these are the fields, this is how long they are, these are the types of things that are allowed to occur in this order, and all of that is a parsing job.